And if you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the memories of the past, and you will be predictable in your life. So crossing that river of change from the old self to the new self, or if you're thinking about that past event and it's producing an emotion, well, you need an image and a feeling to start the conditioning process. So the body's either conditioned into the familiar past or it's hardwired in the predictable future because it wakes up every single day and runs through the same series of routine actions. So the present moment then becomes the unknown. When people start feeling that discomfort, Jay, they'd rather get on their cell phone and call someone or get up and say, I can't meditate, or, I have too much to do. They excuse themselves. They return back into that familiar feeling because the body's actually telling the brain. A habit is when the body becomes the mind. So the body's stepping out into the unknown and says, ooh, I'd rather feel guilty. I'd rather feel unhappy than be in this discomfort. So then when they return back to that familiar feeling, then they feel safe. So they step out in the unknown and the body starts influencing the mind, saying you can start tomorrow. You're too busy. It's your mother's fault. It's your culture's fault. And I don't have enough money. This isn't going to work. Those are the programs in there that are standing in the way between you and your future. So then nerve cells that no longer fire together no longer wire together. So the act of observing those states of mind and body means you're no longer the program. You're the consciousness observing that program. So then to meditate, it means to become familiar with. So as you become familiar with those thoughts, you become conscious of how you speak, you become aware of how you act, you notice how you're feeling. The more conscious you become of those unconscious programs, the less unconscious you'll go in your waking day. Why? Because it's not enough to just have a great meditation and get up and get on the freeway and get in traffic and getting stressed. You just return back to the old self again. Our job then is to sustain that modified state of mind and body the entire day. And if you can, get ready because something different or unusual is going to begin to happen in your life. And it will come as a coincidence or a synchronicity. And that's breadcrumbs from the divine saying, you're on the path. Just keep doing it. There'll be another one. Just keep staying in that energy. If you start returning back to the same reactions to the same people and circumstances, you're returning back to the old self. So you got to stay conscious in your life. And if you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the memories of the past and you will be predictable in your life. So crossing that river of change from the old self to the new self, there's a neurological, a biological, a chemical, a hormonal, a genetic death of the old self. So the fundamental question is, can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet? If you're asking, why isn't it there? You're back to the old person again. Stay in that state for an extended period of time as an experiment, as the scientist in your life, to keep your energy connected to the dream of your future. And then see what kind of effects begin to take place without moving into impatience, without moving into frustration, without starting to analyze why it hasn't happened or when. That is the trap of defining reality with your senses. So you have the thought of your future and you don't see it, then you experience separation. But people who are practicing this work, they have the thought of their future and they feel the emotion of their future. They're still connected to it, right? Mm-hmm. So that takes practice. And so I love the idea of people taking time out of their lives to prove to themselves that if they're defined by the vision of the future, then they're not living by the memories of the past. And that's where the unknown exists. So many people, the unknown is a scary place. So they don't see that future because they're used to seeing that future with evidence with their senses. And you have to be able to get beyond that and stay in the unknown, stay in that discomfort. And then in that moment, to begin to self-regulate. Like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little anxiety. Ooh, I'm starting to feel a little frustration. That's the defining moment where your body's going back to the past because emotions are a record of the past. Or you go into routine again. So you catch yourself. It's a victory. And if you keep catching yourself, those victories add up. And it's not so much about your wealth or your health or your freedom or your new relationship. It's actually about who you become. And so overcoming the old self allows us to become somebody else. And there is that period of transition. I call it the void where there's just not a lot happening. And you just got to be able to keep going and continuously get to the end of your belief where most people stop.
오늘의 성공의 비밀을 완벽하게 내 것으로 만들기 위해서는 보고, 듣고, 쓰는 것이 매우 중요합니다. 한글과 영어로 노트에 필사하면서 씹어 먹어버리세요. 한글 5번, 영어 5번입니다. 시작합니다. 나는 옛 자아를 극복하고 내가 되고 싶은 새로운 사람이 되어갑니다.
I go from the old self to the new self I want to be.
나는 옛 자아를 극복하고 내가 되고 싶은 새로운 사람이 되어갑니다.
I go from the old self to the new self I want to be.
나는 옛 자아를 극복하고 내가 되고 싶은 새로운 사람이 되어갑니다.
I go from the old self to the new self I want to be.
나는 옛 자아를 극복하고 내가 되고 싶은 새로운 사람이 되어갑니다.
I go from the old self to the new self I want to be.
나는 옛 자아를 극복하고 내가 되고 싶은 새로운 사람이 되어갑니다.
I go from the old self to the new self I want to be.
하루 10분만 행동하면 인생 역전은 내 얘기가 됩니다. 매일 동기부여 모닝콜을 통해 성공한 사람들의 성공 비밀을 내 것으로 만들어 보세요. 오늘도 필사에 성공하신 여러분은 부의 마인드를 장착하신 대단한 분들이십니다. 함께하면 부의 마인드는 더 강력해집니다. 지금 당장 성공시키고 싶은 사람을 초대해주세요. 좋아요, 구독, 알림 설정은 이 모닝콜을 함께 제작하는 20명이 넘는 재능 기부자들과 켈리에게 큰 힘을 줍니다. 사랑합니다.